In the quiet towns scattered across the Midwest, where life moved at a slower pace, two individuals were about to upend the tranquility with their reign of terror. Emma Carter and Jake Thompson were not the typical criminals. Their story began in the digital realm, where their paths crossed on a dark web forum dedicated to outlaw culture and criminal lore. Emma, at 23, was a skilled hacker from a small town in Iowa. Her piercing blue eyes and sharp intellect belied a life spent in the shadows of the cyber world. Jake, a 25-year-old from a working-class family in Nebraska, had a troubled past marked by petty crimes and an unfulfilled yearning for something greater. He was tall and rugged, with a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow and a restless demeanor. Emma and Jake's initial interactions were marked by their shared fascination with infamous outlaws, particularly Bonnie and Clyde. They were drawn to the outlaw duo's audacious crimes and romanticized image, believing that their modern counterparts could achieve the same infamy. Their conversations quickly evolved from casual chat to a deep and dangerous alliance, fueled by their mutual desire for notoriety and excitement. Emma was the mastermind behind their plans. A self-taught hacker with a penchant for strategy, she had an intricate understanding of security systems and digital surveillance. Her expertise allowed her to circumvent high-tech security measures and cover their digital tracks. Jake, on the other hand, was the enforcer. With a background in manual labor and a rough edge, he had a natural knack for intimidation and handling firearms. His physical presence and street smarts complemented Emma's technical skills, making them a formidable pair. Their initial foray into the criminal world was a small-time heist that barely registered on the radar of law enforcement. It involved robbing a local convenience store, a simple crime meant to test their coordination and gauge their effectiveness. The heist was executed with precision. Emma's digital manipulation disabled the store's security cameras, while Jake's intimidating presence ensured that the clerks complied without resistance. The successful heist gave them a taste of the adrenaline they craved in the rush of achieving something beyond their mundane lives. Emboldened by their success, Emma and Jake quickly escalated their operations. Their next target was a regional bank, a significant step up from their previous petty thefts. They meticulously planned every detail, from disabling the bank's alarm system to mapping out escape routes. Emma hacked into the bank's network to gather intelligence, while Jake scouted the physical location, noting security measures and guard routines. On a chilly autumn morning, the bank heist was set into motion. Emma, posing as a customer, entered the bank to disable the security systems from the inside. Jake, waiting in a stolen van equipped with stolen license plates and a modified engine for quick getaway, monitored the situation through a live feed from Emma's hidden camera. Once Emma had effectively neutralized the alarms and security cameras, Jake entered the bank, his presence immediately shifting the atmosphere from calm to chaotic. With a cold efficiency, Jake brandished his weapon and demanded that everyone stay on the ground. The bank's employees and customers, shocked and terrified, complied without question. Emma, using a wireless transmitter, provided Jake with real-time updates on the bank's security system. Within minutes, they had the money and were making their escape. The heist was flawless. The pair left the bank without leaving a trace of their identities. The media quickly caught wind of the heist. News outlets reported on the audacious crime with a mix of intrigue and alarm, speculating on the identity and motive of the robbers. Emma and Jake reveled in the attention, their actions validating their belief in their own criminal genius. They used social media to flaunt their success, posting cryptic messages and taunting law enforcement, further fueling their notoriety. However, their success was short-lived. The FBI, noting the growing pattern of criminal activity, began to take an interest in the case. The agency's behavioral analysts and forensic experts were tasked with profiling the suspects and analyzing the crime scenes. Emma and Jake's meticulous planning had initially stymied the investigation, but the increasing frequency of their heists began to leave patterns and clues. The young couple, high on their achievements, grew increasingly brazen. Their next heist targeted a larger, more secure bank, one with advanced security measures and a heightened police presence. Emma's expertise was put to the test as she had to devise more complex hacking strategies to breach the bank's security. Jake, meanwhile, prepared for a more violent confrontation, knowing that the stakes were higher and the risks greater. Despite the heightened risk, the heist was another success, but it marked a turning point. The police response was swift and more aggressive, with a growing sense of urgency to apprehend the criminals. Emma and Jake's actions had begun to draw the attention of the FBI's elite task force, and their criminal spree was no longer a minor nuisance, but a major case that demanded federal intervention. As their notoriety grew, so did their recklessness. The pair's relationship, once a source of strength and synergy, started to show signs of strain. The pressure of evading capture, the constant need for more elaborate heists, and the looming threat of arrest began to take its toll. Yet, the thrill of their crimes continued to drive them, pushing them to commit even bolder and more dangerous acts. Their crime spree had only just begun, and the world watched with a mix of fascination and dread as Emma and Jake embarked on their journey, leaving behind a trail of stolen money, violence, and chaos. The stage was set for a dramatic escalation, with law enforcement closing in and the couple's criminal ambitions spiraling out of control. Their tale was one of modern infamy, echoing the legendary exploits of Bonnie and Clyde while forging a path of their own in the 21st century. The early days of Emma and Jake's crime spree were marked by a thrill that seemed boundless, but as they continued their rampage, the consequences of their actions began to tighten around them. Their audacious bank heists and violent confrontations drew increasing attention from law enforcement, escalating their notoriety and the stakes of their criminal activities. The couple's initial success had made them reckless, and their unrelenting pursuit of fame and fortune led them down a perilous path. Emma and Jake's next heist was a high-profile job at a regional bank in St. Louis. They had carefully chosen their target, a bank known for its newly upgraded security systems and its position as a financial hub in the city. The heist was to be their boldest yet, and they were determined to outdo themselves. Emma spent days hacking into the bank's system, studying the network's vulnerabilities and planning an intricate digital breach. Her skills were put to the test as she navigated sophisticated firewalls and encrypted communications. Jake, meanwhile, was preparing for the physical aspects of the robbery. He obtained detailed blueprints of the bank, scouted the premises multiple times, and even conducted a series of test runs to perfect their timing. His methodical approach contrasted sharply with Emma's digital wizardry, but together they formed a well-oiled machine. They decided to execute the heist during a busy lunchtime, knowing that the increased number of people would make the robbery less suspicious. On the day of the heist, everything seemed to go according to plan. Emma had successfully disabled the bank's security alarms and surveillance cameras without triggering any alerts. Jake, dressed in dark clothing and wearing a mask, entered the bank with a commanding presence. The bank's staff and customers, caught off guard, were quickly subdued. The scene was chaotic but controlled. Jake's cold efficiency ensured that there were no unnecessary complications. The heist itself was a triumph of coordination. Emma guided Jake through the security system's last defenses and provided real-time updates on the bank's security measures. They managed to escape with a substantial amount of cash, leaving behind a scene of stunned onlookers in disarray. However, their celebration was short-lived. The FBI had been alerted, and a task force was assembled to investigate the brazen crime. The media frenzy surrounding the heist added to the pressure on law enforcement. News outlets were abuzz with reports of the daring robbers who seemed to be one step ahead of the authorities. Emma and Jake reveled in their newfound fame, using social media to taunt the police and flaunt their spoils. Their posts were cryptic but provocative, adding to their infamy and creating a public obsession with their criminal exploits. The FBI, aware of the growing threat, began to focus their efforts on tracking down the pair. They enlisted the help of behavioral analysts, forensic experts, and surveillance teams to piece together the clues left behind. Emma and Jake's increasing arrogance and recklessness provided both a challenge and an opportunity for the investigators. As the couple continued their spree, they made several missteps that provided valuable leads. Their next target was a high-stakes casino in Las Vegas, known for its opulent surroundings and heavy security. The casino's wealth and the potential for large cash payouts made it an attractive target, but it also posed significant risks. Emma and Jake meticulously planned the heist, with Emma using her hacking skills to gather information on the casino's security protocols and Jake preparing for a high-stakes confrontation. The heist was more complex than their previous jobs. Emma had to navigate a labyrinth of security systems, including biometric scanners and sophisticated surveillance equipment. She spent days devising a plan to bypass these security measures, while Jake familiarized himself with the casino's layout and staff routines. They decided to strike during a high-profile poker tournament, a time when the casino would be bustling with activity and cash on hand. The night of the heist, tension was palpable. Emma and Jake were in constant communication via encrypted channels, coordinating their actions with precision. Emma's role was to disable the casino's security systems from a remote location, while Jake would handle the physical entry and extraction of the cash. Despite their careful planning, the heist did not go as smoothly as anticipated. Unexpected security measures and a heightened police presence created complications, but Jake's quick thinking and Emma's adaptability allowed them to complete the robbery, albeit with a few close calls. As the couple left Las Vegas with their haul, the situation grew more precarious. The FBI had intensified their efforts, deploying additional resources to track down the criminals. Emma and Jake's increased visibility made it harder for them to operate without attracting attention. Their once thrilling escapades were now fraught with danger, and the strain began to show in their relationship. Tensions between Emma and Jake mounted. Their initial camaraderie was tested by the pressures of their high-stakes lifestyle. Emma was increasingly consumed by her efforts to stay ahead of the authorities, while Jake struggled with the growing violence and danger of their crimes. Their arguments became more frequent, their interactions more strained, yet, despite the growing rift between them, they remained united by their shared goal of evading capture and achieving greater infamy. As their spree continued, they targeted a series of smaller banks and convenience stores, each heist marked by increasing violence and desperation. The FBI's task force, now operating under the guidance of a seasoned lead investigator, tracked the couple's movements and analyzed their patterns. They noted the escalating brutality of the crimes and the growing risk to public safety. Emma and Jake's criminal activities were no longer isolated incidents, but a coordinated spree that posed a serious threat to communities across the Midwest. With every successful heist, Emma and Jake's fame grew, but so did the pressure from law enforcement. Their crimes had left a trail of destruction and chaos, and the FBI was determined to bring them to justice. The couple's recklessness and public taunting had created a dangerous game of cat and mouse, with the authorities closing in and Emma and Jake's ambitions driving them to ever more desperate and risky actions. As the manhunt intensified, Emma and Jake faced mounting obstacles. Their every move was scrutinized, their every action analyzed. The thrill of their criminal exploits began to be overshadowed by the looming threat of capture. Yet, despite the growing dangers and the increasing strain on their relationship, the couple remained undeterred. Their infamy had reached new heights, and they were determined to continue their spree, no matter the cost. The stage was set for a dramatic escalation, with Emma and Jake's criminal ambitions driving them further into the clutches of law enforcement. Their once thrilling spree had transformed into a high-stakes battle for survival, with each heist bringing them closer to their inevitable showdown with the authorities. The consequences of their actions were becoming increasingly dire, and the endgame was approaching as the FBI intensified their efforts to bring the notorious couple to justice. As Emma and Jake continued their crime spree, their notoriety reached unprecedented levels. The media frenzy surrounding their criminal exploits had captivated the nation, transforming them into symbols of modern outlaw rebellion. Yet, the thrill of their audacious heists was beginning to wane, overshadowed by the relentless pressure from law enforcement and the increasing strain on their relationship. The FBI, now fully committed to bringing the couple to justice, had intensified their efforts, deploying the most skilled agents and resources in a high-stakes manhunt. The FBI's task force had compiled a comprehensive profile of Emma and Jake. Behavioral analysts scrutinized their patterns and habits. Forensic experts examined crime scenes for clues, and surveillance teams followed every lead. The task force knew that the couple was highly skilled and dangerous, but they were also becoming increasingly reckless. Their recent crimes had grown more violent and brazen, suggesting a dangerous mixture of desperation and defiance. The authorities' efforts were focused on predicting the couple's next move. Emma and Jake had made a critical error by growing overconfident, and their latest heist, an elaborate plan targeting a high-security art gallery in Chicago, would prove to be their undoing. The gallery, renowned for its priceless collections and advanced security systems, was the perfect high-profile target for the couple's final act of infamy. Emma and Jake believed that this heist would cement their place in criminal history, unaware that it would lead to their dramatic downfall. The plan was set into motion with meticulous precision. Emma spent weeks hacking into the gallery's security network, studying blueprints, and planning every detail. She discovered a vulnerability in the gallery's alarm system, which she exploited to create a narrow window of opportunity for the heist. Jake, on the other hand, prepared for the physical aspect of the operation. He recruited a small team of accomplices to assist with the robbery and began to assemble the necessary tools and equipment. On the night of the heist, the art gallery was bustling with a high-profile charity event. The couple's strategy was to blend into the crowd, disable the security systems, and make their move during the height of the event. Emma, disguised as a sophisticated guest, navigated through the gallery's labyrinthine corridors while Jake and his accomplices, dressed in dark clothing and masks, waited for the right moment to strike. The gallery's security was formidable, but Emma's expertise allowed her to breach the system and disable the alarms, creating a temporary blind spot in the gallery's defenses. As the event reached its peak, Emma signaled Jake and his team to begin their operation. The heist was executed with precision. The accomplices swiftly disabled the physical security measures while Jake focused on accessing the gallery's most valuable pieces. The operation seemed to be going smoothly until a series of unforeseen complications began to unravel their carefully laid plans. Unbeknownst to them, a new layer of security had been implemented, including additional guards and advanced surveillance systems that Emma had not anticipated. The situation quickly spiraled out of control. Jake's team encountered unexpected resistance from the gallery's security personnel, and a violent confrontation ensued. The chaos drew the attention of law enforcement, and a rapid response team was dispatched to the scene. Emma, realizing that their plans were falling apart, tried to intervene by reactivating the security systems to create a diversion. Her attempt to regain control only added to the confusion and further alerted the authorities. As the FBI's response team arrived, a dramatic and intense standoff unfolded. The gallery, once a symbol of high culture, became the stage for a fierce gunfight between Emma and Jake's team and the responding officers. Emma, trapped inside the gallery, attempted to escape through a hidden route she had previously mapped out. Her escape plan was hindered by the gallery's sudden lockdown and the advancing law enforcement personnel. Jake, facing increasing pressure and realizing the dire situation, made a last-ditch effort to salvage the heist. He ordered his remaining accomplices to cover their retreat while he attempted to reach Emma. The standoff became increasingly volatile, with gunfire echoing through the gallery's halls and the once elegant space now marred by violence and chaos. The confrontation reached its climax as the FBI's tactical team cornered Emma and Jake in the gallery's grand exhibition hall. The couple, now facing inevitable capture, fought back with a mixture of desperation and defiance. Emma, wounded in the exchange of fire, and Jake, determined to make a final stand, found themselves trapped and outnumbered. The scene was a dramatic culmination of their criminal spree, a stark contrast to the glamorous image they had once projected. In a final, desperate act of defiance, Emma and Jake attempted to escape through a hidden passageway, but their efforts were in vain. The FBI's tactical team closed in, and the couple was forced into a final, intense confrontation. The gallery, once a place of art and culture, became the site of their ultimate downfall. The standoff ended with Emma and Jake being fatally wounded, their dreams of infamy and rebellion extinguished in a violent clash with the law. As the authorities secured the scene and tended to the aftermath, the gallery stood as a grim reminder of the couple's criminal legacy. The media, captivated by the dramatic end to the notorious crime spree, reported on the tragic conclusion with a mix of shock and relief. Emma and Jake's story became a cautionary tale, a modern echo of the legendary Bonnie and Clyde, but with a far darker and tragic end. In the wake of their demise, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies reflected on the case as a complex and challenging investigation. The manhunt had tested their skills and resources, and the final showdown highlighted the dangers of unchecked ambition and the consequences of living on the edge of the law. Emma and Jake's criminal spree, marked by audacity and violence, had come to a dramatic and fatal end, leaving behind a legacy of destruction and a stark reminder of the perils of pursuing infamy at any cost.